There are question marks which have not been answered. I don't want to call it Nehruvian or Marxist. Yes, they played the game. Even now, the nation doesn't have courage to face these questions and find answers to that. Still, the two nations are continuing to bleed. If you put your humanity to sleep, you can forget anything. But if your humanity is alive, these questions must be asked and they must be answered. The coming generation must ask those questions. Why? Why partition? Just changing one word and thinking we are done with it. There is so much that needs to be done. But once you change one word, it looks like it's done. It's not done. In any given society, whether they don't like it or they don't like it, it's very important that to create a level playing field for both genders. This itself may be a crime that I'm saying both, that I'm saying there are only two. This may be a crime in today's world, but anyway, to give a level playing field for all human beings of whatever kind they are, ladies, gentlemen, and those who have not made up your minds. Whoever you are, to give a level playing field, one important thing is, this is supposed to be an obscene thing to say. That is because they are not in reality, they are living in, textbooks or they're living in classrooms or academics. Without protecting women, without giving a certain amount of protection in the law and in the society, nowhere will there be level playing field. Well, there are a whole lot of women this thing, we don't need any protection, then you don't know the nature of the existence. Because of the biologies that we are, one needs little more protection. This doesn't mean it's less. Something needs more protection does not mean it's less than something else. It's different, so it needs little more protection. And if that protection is absent in a society, level playing field is just a joke. It'll never happen.
Yes.
In the name of equality, we will exploit women and children because physically there is a little disadvantage which will be exploited, of course. So in that context, this whole process of, I don't want to call it Nehruvian or Marxist, yes, they played the game, but I think they are also people who are overawed and made invaders aspirational, victims of the same process that the invaders set forth. But of course, there are moments in history, there are moments in recent history, when I say recent, in the last 100 years, which the way we've been taught doesn't make any logical sense. There are question marks which have not been answered. And probably even now the nation doesn't have courage to face those questions and find answers to that, which I feel the coming generation must ask those questions. Why? Why certain things were done the way they were done? Why partition? Because you can forget the pain of those millions of people. Still the two nations are continuing to bleed, all right?
Yes.
Over 1 million people dead and over 6–7 million people were forcefully pushed from this side to that side and that side to this side. This is not a religious question, this is a question of humanity. 6 million people leaving everything that they have, just leaving and in great hurry going and being refugees in another country, still in refugee camps, some of them after 75 years, and over 1 million people butchered. You can forget it if you want. If you put your humanity to sleep, you can forget anything. But if your humanity is alive, these questions must be asked and they must be answered. For our generation and particularly for the future generations, these questions must be answered.
Namaskaram. August 1947 marked a turning point in the history of South Asia. The end of British colonial rule in India led to the birth of two independent nations, India and Pakistan. This monumental event, known as the Partition, was fraught with turmoil, violence, and one of the largest mass migrations in human history. Let's dive into the historical context. The partition of India and Pakistan was the result of the long struggle for independence from British rule. Key figures in this movement included Mahatma Gandhi, who advocated for non-violent resistance, Jawaharlal Nehru, a leader of the Indian National Congress, and Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who led the All India Muslim League. Over the years, tensions grew between different religious communities. The Lahore Resolution of 1940, presented by the Muslim League, called for separate state for Muslims in the northwestern and eastern zones of India. This laid the foundation for the demand for Pakistan. The boundaries between the new nations were drawn by Sir Cyril Radcliffe, a British lawyer with no prior experience in India. The Radcliffe Line, named after him, was announced on August 17, 1947, 2 days after India and Pakistan became independent. This hazily drawn line divided prominence, communities, and even homes, creating a border of modern-day India and Pakistan. Radcliffe had only 5 weeks to decide the fate of millions. The line he drew cut through Punjab and Bengal, splitting them into East and West Pakistan, and India, leading to mass displacement and chaos. The partition triggered an unprecedented mass migration. Approximately 10 to 15 million people crossed newly drawn borders, with Hindus and Sikhs moving to India and Muslims to Pakistan. This massive migration was accompanied by significant communal violence, resulting in the deaths of estimated hundreds of thousands to 2 million people. Families were torn apart, homes abandoned, and lives uprooted. The refugees crisis saw people traveling in overcrowded trains, on foot, and by any means possible, often facing immense hardship and violence. Communal violences erupted on an unprecedented scale. Cities like Lahore, Delhi, and Calcutta witnessed horrific bloodsheds. Hindus, Sikhs, and Muslims attacked each other, leading to mass casualties and a legacy of hatred and mistrust that still affects India-Pakistan relations today. Neighbors turned against neighbors. Entire villages were decimated. The brutality of the violence left deep scars in the psyche of the both nations, a stark reminder of the human cost of partition. The economic impact of the partition was severe. Infrastructure was disrupted, administrative systems were chaos, and both nations faced the daunting task of resettling millions of refugees. The provinces of Punjab and Bengal were particularly affected, as they were split between the two countries, leading to significant economics and social upheaval. Factories were abandoned, farmlands left unattended, and business disrupted. The economic disruption was compounded by the loss of skilled labor and the urgent need for rebuilding and rehabilitation in the new nations. Women suffered immensely during the partition. Reports of abduction, sexual violence, and forced conversions were widespread. The trauma endured by these women has only recently begun to receive the attention it deserves, highlighting their resilience and the unique challenges they faced. Women were often left behind or kidnapped during the chaos. Many never reunited with their families. The stories, once silenced, are now being heard and recognized as a crucial part of the partition narrative. The legacy of the partition is still felt today. It set the stage for several wars between India and Pakistan and ongoing disputes, particularly over the Kashmir region. Despite the passage of time, the scars of partition remain a poignant reminder of the human cost of dividing a nation. Efforts for peace continue with cultural exchanges and dialogues aimed at healing the wounds of the past. However, the complexities of the India and Pakistan relationship remain a testament to the enduring impact of the partition. The partition has deeply influenced art, literature, and cinema in both countries. Stories of loss, resilience, and survival have been captured in numerous books, films, and oral histories, keeping the memory of the event alive for future generations. Works like Kushwanta Singh's Train to Pakistan and films such as Earth by D. Mehta explore the human dimension of the partition, reminding us of the enduring impact of the historic event. Educational and research initiative continues to uncover new facts of the partition. Universities and institutions across the world are dedicated to studying the partition's impact, ensuring that future generations understand the complexities and consequences of this period. These efforts not only help us understand the past but also contribute to a more nuanced perspective on current India-Pakistan relations and the broader South Asian context. The partition of India and Pakistan was more than a political division. It was a human tragedy that unshaped the lives of millions. Understanding its history is crucial to recognize the complexities of India-Pakistan relations and the resilience of those who lived through it. Stop it. You cannot destroy Hindu. Click here to watch this video now. If you find this video informative, please like, share and subscribe for more historical insights. Thank you for watching. Pranam.